Hi there everybody, Mars here, the teaching professional at Southwick Park Golf Club. This week's video is going to be called This is definitely not for everyone. So I'm going to show you a few things during this video that is definitely not for everyone, but maybe for some of you. So I'm going to start off with, I'm down here on the 13th tee, a place where you can't hook it. You don't want to slice it, but you definitely can't hook it and knock yourself out of bounds. So one way of almost guaranteeing yourself not to hook it is either to tee your golf ball right down with your driver, or try and maybe even hit it off the deck, which I'm going to try and show you. You'll almost always hit a squeezy type fade. So let's start off with that. You hit the ball in a normal way. I'm going to stand a tiny bit open, you know, I've got a 9.5 degree driver, but I'll get enough height on it and loads of runs. So definitely not for everybody. You probably can just trust me, or you can let me walk you down with it, but that's probably perfect. So nice little low cutty fade, started it almost pretty much at the out of bounds and just cut it back. It will naturally fade with your driver off of the floor or off of a very low tee. Okay, here's another one that's maybe not necessary for everyone, and that will be a driving iron. Sort of starting to become more and more popular now, as and like I said, I think in a previous video, this is a Southwick Park Golf Club, because, you know, nice little low runner straight off of a tee round Southwick Park is probably your best shot. So I'm going to just try and use it here, and not for everyone for sure. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try and let the contours work for me, and I'm going to try and run it up into the throat of the green. If I get it right, I'll pull it off. So I'm actually going to move this ball position back and try and hit it in really quite low and use a lot of run and try and funnel it between those two bunkers, rather than what I would have normally had to do here and try and hit some sort of long high wood and to try and sort of clear it onto the green a little bit. So I'm just going to give it a whirl and see how we go. I think you can come with me with that one. So it's a way of low risking a shot like that, really. I mean, if I didn't really pull it off, I probably would have ended up in one of the two bunkers. That's probably the worst that would have happened to it. Having a flash with a wood is obviously a bit harder, so I don't know exactly where it's gone because my eyesight's not very good anymore. Oh, just while I'm making this video, juniors have started again, so if there is some space for a couple more to join us, so if you know of anyone that's got the right sort of drive to sort of join our junior section and try and become a proper player with a proper handicap. So our juniors are starting to do brilliantly well now, so yeah, I'd like to see if I can add to those numbers a tiny bit. I know I go on about junior golf an awful lot, but if you don't replace your dead, for want of a brutal word, you know, obviously dead's not really the right word, but obviously you get to a certain age and you can't play any more golf, so you sort of drop off. So they need topping up at the bottom, and they need topping up with kids that will be, oh, that's a really good shot, that will be Southwick Park members maybe for life, or certainly they'll always consider this their home club. That's a good shot, that. So I'm just going to get you up to this hole and see if I can. Be a good eagle, wouldn't it? Drive off the deck, nice little low cutty driving iron, which have struck really nicely. Funnily enough, I just played the 12th and had a 2 because I just walked out here and started on there and hit a really good shot onto the green there. So maybe it's going to be a good day. I'm a little bit short, but I've got an eagle putt, and I'm going to put you onto my next thing that's not for everyone, that's definitely for me, which is an arm lock putter. So yeah. Not for everyone, but definitely for me. I've gone backwards and forwards with a short putter, and now I've settled on, I've got 2, so I suppose it means I haven't really settled. I've got 2 arm lock putters now, and I've settled on sort of this one, which is, it's like a Matt Kuchar autograph, for want of a better word. All right, let's just get this head cover off. Really good shot, Miles, that. So let me tell you about arm lock putting and why it might be for you, and why it has become for me. Because when I take a normal putter away with both my hands on it, for some reason I seem to get this little snaky path as I pull it back away from the ball. It's already started moving offline. So the thing about arm lock putting is, and it's like some people are a bit sniffy about it, but it's not anchoring. You know, the club cannot come above your elbow. It can be anchored up to that point. And what it almost definitely guarantees me is this lovely straight backswing. So arm lock putters are interesting because it has extra loft as you have to push the club forward against your arm, bringing it back to about the right point. Most putters have 3 or 4 degrees of loft. Some surprise people, some people think they have no loft, but obviously that would sort of almost drive it into the ground, so you need enough loft. And a grip, which is, for me, is almost round the wrong way. I mean, it should be that way, but it can rest against my arm that way. So let's see if I can get a little eagle on camera. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Everyone tells me everything runs towards the lake here, but it doesn't look like it does. It looks like it's really straight, but so I'm going to putt it right edge and see what we get. Had it if I hit it. I think with the greens being sandy, it's sort of put me off a bit, but actually now when I look at the surface, it's getting better and better all the time. So I'm going to tap that in and move on to something else. Birdie, birdie. Now, this particular hole isn't probably the greatest example of where I would use this, but some things that sometimes people will automatically just always stick the tee right in the middle of the teeing ground, and you can wildly change the angle of a hole by teeing up at the far left or right hand side of any block. So me, I don't want to hit a funny snap hook into the water here, so I'm going to tee up this side of the block to give myself a slightly more angle off to the right, and this suits my eye a lot better. Just having the block there will make me almost not want, does that make sense here? Will make me not want to swing towards it. I'm going to swing away from it a little bit. So don't be frightened about standing outside the teeing ground. It's only important where your ball is, and this will be a really good way of psychologically me not hooking it out of bounds. Two really good holes, a low one. It's dead straight down the middle, but not very satisfying. What I didn't do is, this is the thing about club golf, right, and a shot like that, just while we're on it. And this is where I think people beat themselves up too much. I've just got that out of the bottom part of the heel. It's a low cutty one. It's probably absolutely perfect when I get up there. And that's what you must do, right? We've got to let go of this shot straight away. Even if it's a terrible shot, you've got to let go of it straight away, because it's done. As my dad used to say, post-mortems are for the dead. Because that shot will not define this hole for me. I'm in the middle of the fairway, probably 30 or 40 yards short of where I would be with a really good shot. And this is probably one of the things you'll find with much lower handicappers. Like, so I've hit a shot there and you would have been playing with me and gone, you know, thought you'd be a bit better than that type thing. But I'm definitely capable of making 3 from that position, because that shot has not defined my hole. And I know it's not the subject we're on, but it's something I see people self-harming all the time around not perfect ball strikes. As long as that's not too destructive, go with it, find it, deal with it. So yeah, we'll move on. Okay, here's my next, this isn't for everyone, and it's called bellying a wedge. And you only really ever do it, or I only ever do it when this happens, very occasionally, every so many rounds, when you come to rest off of the green and onto the collar of the fairway. It's very difficult sometimes to putt nicely like this, because you can only really clip the top of the ball and you can snag up too much grass. Okay, so I'm going to have a little go at this and just show you how to play that as well. So basically what we're going to try and do is we're going to putt with my sand iron, and I'm going to keep it off the ground, and I'm going to try and hit it with the leading edge about halfway up the ball. It's a way to deal with these snaggy collared lies. It's surprisingly good. Again, one of these things you have to practice again. No one's going to be instantly good at this. So yeah, basically it's like a putt, but I'm going to try and catch it half ball, and this won't interfere with my golf then, and I can hopefully send it down and make an up and down from here. I'm going to play it from the same pin position. Quite a long way to go here, but definitely where I would try and belly a wedge. You can sort of trust me or not. Pretty good. I just misdirected it a tiny bit, but that's covering the distance. I reckon I can make that. So bellying a wedge, collar of the green, sometimes worth a try. Something you definitely would have to practice. Okay, now this definitely isn't for everybody, and definitely not for greenkeepers. I'm going to see if I can show you what I'm going to do here. Right, so this is something I got from Laura Davis. She knocks the turf up, makes a little tee, and sits it on top of that. So when I was young, the day Old Thorns opened, Seve, Tommy Nakajima and Laurie Davis played an exhibition match, and because I don't live very far away, went to watch it. And Laura Davis did this on the first tee with her driver and built a tee out of the mud, and I thought, wow, that's naughty, and it's pretty cool as whatever I was, 12, 13-year-old. I thought that was great. If you ever hear her talk about it, she says it gives her loads more spin, and when she does it with her driver, it means a bit like I did on the first. You don't hook so many, you get more of a, she likes to play with a sort of fade, so off a slightly lower tee you can get that. So I've always done that. It definitely gives you more spin. I think it does anyway. And from a greenkeeping point of view, I'm taking a divot even if I tee that up, so I'm just going to repair that and put it back anyway. I'm going to try and play a good shot here and keep this score going and try and get a bit of spin off the right hand side of that flag. Maybe just try and use the bank if I get it right. Just needs a well struck shot really. The good score endeth with one over the back. Too much club. Schoolboy error. Let's see how we get on here. Definitely for me the hardest tee shot of the 16th medal tee is a very difficult tee shot if you really are going to try and be ambitious and use your driver. There's definitely some mileage in sort of hitting to the bottom and laying up and trying to make your fall from a chip on, and if you're a handicap player I suggest you do that. But I think with a bit of a score going and with your dander up, you've got to try and bit of ball shaping now. So this is the bit that's not for everyone, to actually purposely shape it. You know, I need a really relatively hard draw to get this right without me cutting it too close to the tree. So I want to set it out middle of the fairway. I can see the 150-yard marker in the distance. That'll be a good place to aim at. So I'm going to try and shape it. So I'm going to do that purely with how I stand and how I align. So I'm going to stand closed. I'm going to make sure my shoulder line is on the same line as my feet, which is closed too, and have the bravery to swing on that toe line. So I'm basically going to be swinging from in to out, and as long as I can keep the face closing, I'm going to draw it. And if that comes off, then I've got a chance of getting up and round the corner and hitting not much club into this very, very difficult hole. So let's see. This is high tariff, and you get a little snappy hook going and you're going to lose your ball. So, but come on, be positive. Yeah? Point the club where you want to end up, the face of the club where you want to end up. It's actually a really nice shot. It's not drawn as much as I wanted it to. It's on the, it's pretty much ended up where the marker post is. Whether it's made the top plateau or not, but it's definitely okay. I'm gonna have one more go actually, because I think I can get a bit more shape on it than that. But that was good. It's a safer way of playing the hole than you think, really, especially if you're a natural fader. That's your one. That's up and round the corner. We're gonna have a look. So here's a not for everyone type of shot. What are you? This is the bunker to the left of 16, and I've run in with a bit of speed. This isn't my shot, by the way, but I've run in with a bit of speed, and I'm a bit no man's landy now. I mean, what am I doing with that? Am I going to try and hop it that way, knock it back into the bunker, or try something a little bit trickier? But like, all I've got to do is play my same bunker shot that I would want to play from the middle, from much lower down. So there's only one way I can really do that. I'm going to have to kneel on this bank. I've had no practices, but I fancy that I can do it. A lot of these things are just concentration, really, and getting yourself happy. Like, I'm happy, I'm balanced there, it's not too uncomfortable, and I've got enough room to pick that club up and drop it back into the back of the ball. Now the risk obviously is me just whacking it straight into the face, so I've got to make sure I stay down and keep the loft on. Anywhere out the bunker is going to be a win from here, because otherwise probably it's going to cost me one shot to go backwards or forwards. So let's have a go. Because you haven't been here and I haven't been here, I promise you I haven't had a practice shot. You've got to feel how this is going to feel, and I can feel my weight being dragged forward a little bit, so I've got to be careful not to shank it. So I'm going to just try and make sure I centre a little bit and just use arms and shoulders a little bit. Okay, let's do it. It's all right, wasn't it? See, these things aren't mucking about, they're having. Here's one you wouldn't get very often or want very often either, so can't really play it right-handed. Anyway, definitely going to risk breaking my club. So I've either got I'm going to play a backhander or left-handed, so I'll try both. This is probably the easier one. Just got to sort of pick your target and pick your line, and then really concentrate on the back of the ball. And it's that sort of motion. Pick it up. It's just a wrist hinge, basically. Yeah, front edge, yeah, not too bad. Got another ball. I think personally, I probably would have had a go left-handed, where I can sort of see where I'm going a little bit. Sand iron sort of turns it into about an 8-iron left-handed. Not bad, got a much better connection, so not for everyone, but something you're worth slinging a ball down and having a practice, because one day it's going to happen to you and it'll be important and you won't know what to do. So left-handed, backhanded, stymied against the tree, happens every now and then, and probably happens on the 17th where I am. Well, that video went a little bit off-piste very quickly, didn't it? And yeah, it wasn't exactly what I was planning, but thanks for watching, and I hope you all found something in there that might have interested you, and see you all again next week.